Why, hello, bride chillers and groom chillers. It's Alicia here. I am the host of the Bridechilla podcast. Wherever you are, good morning, good evening, good night. It's not very early. It's early here in London, but I wanted to get this out to talk a little bit today about what is happening on the Bridechilla podcast, because today's episode of the show, if you've never heard the show before, it's a wedding planning podcast. It's like a wedding magazine for your ears, but with more swears and me. I love talking about weddings. I've written a book, I've been on TV, I'm a comedian, and I am your virtual bridesmaid. And today's show is all about what to do if a vendor lets you down. Now, I don't want to be some sort of fairy godmother that says everyone is going to be great when planning your wedding, because that's just not the truth. Because in any situation, when you're dealing with businesses, you will come across people that aren't as good as other people. So today's show explores 3 bride chillers who just have had slight problems, to put it very lightly, with their wedding dress vendors. And this I don't want people to think, oh, Alicia's shitting on the wedding industry. This is not the intention of today's episode. It is really about empowering you to figure out who is best to give your money to, who is best to go into business with, because this is a business interaction. I think a lot of the times bride chillers and groom chillers get a bit wrapped up in the fairy tale of the day, but realize that you are investing a lot of money, whether it's your money or your parents' money, in planning this day, and you want to make sure that you do business with a really good person. Good morning, Carly Finlay. How are you? I really want to share these stories today because, firstly, they're really interesting to see how these bride chillers use their very clever, wily skills to then step out of this sort of zone of going, what am I going to do, and actually fix a problem. You'll hear from bride chiller Kate, who had the dress that she really wanted and then took it to a tailor, a seamstress, and the seamstress really bodged it, really did a bad job, and this was 2 weeks before the wedding day, and she was very level-headed in trying to figure out what to do. Also, you'll hear from my beautiful cousin Belinda and her experiences with an Etsy seller who, by all means, by all reviews and all this sort of stuff, was a legit seller, and they are legit. There's no questioning that they're running a business, but they just had become very popular very quickly and got in over their heads in the way that they were presenting their customer service. And she was very disappointed with the outcome of that transaction. And you know, if you've heard her talk on the podcast a few weeks ago, she is very much like me. She says it like it is, and she really goes into the detail of how she pursued these vendors to try and, well, get her money back, but also get them to realise that the way that they treated her as a customer was shit. Really, to be honest, it was bad. We also have a great chat, we as in I say we to make it sound like there's a whole team behind us, but it's just me. I also talk to the lovely Nova from newbride.com. If you've never heard Nova, she's been on the show a number of times. She's the founder and the editor of a fabulous wedding blog that celebrates diversity, which is something we should be doing a lot more of in the wedding industry. But Nova's cousin, it's just something about cousins on today's show. Nova's cousin had a pretty annoying, expensive experience with a wedding vendor who had promised to make a dress. And I don't want to give away too much of the podcast because it's a really interesting story and it made my blood boil when I heard about it. But they promised to make a couture gown, but they did not. They purchased the gown from somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to give away. So look, the message today, I think it's really invaluable, whether if you've bought your wedding dress already or whether you are searching for a wedding dress. I think the experiences and the lessons learned from this episode can be transposed and transcribed into any other sort of purchasing situation, especially when it comes to weddings, that you really have to trust your gut when it comes to handing over a lot of money. Because if you don't feel secure in what these people are doing and the services that they're providing, then you need to stop, have a deep breath, and especially go to the Google and do some research. There is nothing wrong with asking for testimonials, especially if you are looking to, put down a large amount of money, and if they're asking you to put that money down in one go, I would also say stop. Think about it. Are they dodgy? If they are at all perturbed with you asking for testimonials or asking for a phone number of a happy client, then you should definitely walk away and take some deep breaths and think about who you are handing your money over to. I certainly don't want to give the impression that I'm bagging on any wedding vendors today. I don't name any of the people. I am very aware that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of amazing wedding vendors and suppliers out there that go their absolute 100% in helping people get out of problems and will go the extra mile if things aren't working. So I don't want anyone to come out of this going, oh, she's being a bit negative. I just want to empower you with information and to get you to realize that you don't have to jump in bed, probably the wrong thing, with the first wedding vendor that you see. You will always be able to get that thing tomorrow. It's a really easy thing to feel excited, especially when you try a dress on and you're like, I need this dress, I need to buy it. But it's a business. We live in a capitalist society. If you're watching this, you're probably not in China. You will be able to come back tomorrow and purchase said dress, and said dress will always be available somewhere else. Now, I'm not saying there are limited edition bespoke things, but if you want to take 24 hours to make a decision or go away and do some Googs, ask the Googs about stuff, go and call some testimonials, I promise you, if they are people that want to do business with you, they will go out of their way to make it happen. So I really believe that you should trust your gut. You should take a little moment and don't jump into bed with people if you don't feel good about it. That should be just taken in like, that's a life lesson. I mean, literally don't jump into bed with people if you don't feel good about it. That's what it's all about. So that is the show today. As I said, I am Alicia from the Bridechilla podcast. The show title today is Dress Mess. And it's when vendors go bad. So I encourage you, if you have not subscribed to the show, jump on iTunes or Acast if you are an Android subscriber. And if it's so easy, when you subscribe, they will just be delivered to your phone twice a week. On Mondays, I do a themed episode like today, looking at vendors being shonky. And then on Thursday, I answer your question on Bridechilla Q&A Thursdays. You can write to me and ask me anything. I really encourage people to leave voice messages, and I play them on the show, and it's really fun because I get to hear your voice and hear what you're up to. It's really great. So if you are planning a wedding and you haven't listened to the Bridechilla podcast, get on board, girl or boy. Have a good time. It's free. I don't ask for anything but your time. And also, if you enjoy the show, I would just love you to leave me an iTunes review and jump aboard and tell a friend. I always say tell a friend. Maybe you've got someone, maybe you've already got your wedding dress, but you've got a girlfriend who is looking for a wedding dress. I would say definitely share this episode because there's lots of lessons to be learned. All right, I have to go to work. I've got my coffee. I've got my headband on because I'm covering up some greys and some greasy hair today. There's a tip for young punters. If you've got greasy hair, pop a snazzy headband on. It's tennis night tonight with my husband Rich, so I thought I'm not gonna make a bit of effort here. I'm gonna be hitting a ball. Hey, if you would like to jump on board Instagram stories, if you want to follow me on Instagram.com/Alicia McCormack, you can follow the minutiae of my life. All right, I must go. Au revoir. Have a fabulous day wherever you are, and make sure you hit me up with any feedback. If you are experiencing problems with the vendor, I want to hear about it. Okay, all my love.